I promise you, you're going to be so grateful that you said no. But best believe your employer, your boss, they're not missing out on time with their family. Your plans are more important than any job. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I wanted to have a candid quick chat with you guys about letting your employer guilt trip you into working more hours. I found myself over the years doing this. I will forego my own plans or spend less time with my family just to appease the employer. For some odd reason, I feel guilty when I tell my boss no. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a whole lot better at saying no. But on occasion, I will still feel that twinge of guilt and I'll regret it. I'll think twice about it and I'll reluctantly say no. When honestly, no is what I wanted to say from the start. I knew what my answer was going to be, but I feel guilty for doing it. Something that I have to keep reminding myself about, and I want to remind you guys too, is your life, your family, your plans are more important than any job. So I get it if you are trying to save money, you're grinding, you know you're grinding. We've all been there. We all have those times in our lives when we're like, look, I'm just gonna grind it out. I'm trying to get this check. Or if you truly want to help out and you feel like my coworkers or my boss really need me, so I'm gonna step in. But on those occasions where you really don't want to pick up, where you really don't need the money, where you really have plans with your family or with your friends, or you got something important going on, please do not let your boss guilt trip you into working, because guess what? You're going to be the one missing out on your life. But best believe your employer, your boss, they're not missing out on time with their family. I remember when I was bedside nursing. Honestly, that's when it was the absolute worst. But I was a bedside nurse. And I had a manager who was always asking us to pick up all the time. And when you didn't respond to her text, or if you told her no via text, she would find you on the unit and she would ask you again. And she would try to pretty much pressure you into picking up these hours. And I used to hate it, but I would crack. Almost every time I would just crack, and it was like an ongoing joke on the unit that the manager, she got you again. And it was funny at the time, but I realized later, she leaves at like 3:00. She's really going on vacation multiple times throughout the year, and I'm stuck here while I'm looking at other people in my family living their best lives, doing this and that, and I'm here at work for what? And I regretted it. I ended up regretting it, and I told myself, Sarah, you got to do better. You got to do better with this. I'm still a work in progress. I still have that guilt saying no. I truly believe that employers know that we feel guilty, and they play up on that. It's not right. It's not fair, but they do it. I'm going to give you an example. So my old employer, they called me into the office. So at the time, my baby was, at that point, she was like 4 months old. So I started back going to work, and she was in daycare for 2 days out the week that I worked. So my employer was pressuring me. They really wanted me to work more hours. They said, please, can you just pick up another day? And I told them, no, I've got my baby, I'm breastfeeding. And I told you guys that I want to work part-time anyway. So no, I'm not bumping up to full-time right now. And this is what they did. So they called me into the office one day and they said, how's your baby doing? I said, oh, she's doing so good. She's growing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like impressed that they even cared to ask me about my child, right? So they said, oh, so how's daycare? Is she still going twice a week? How are you feeling about it? Because I told them initially when I met them that I wasn't really excited about sending her to daycare. I've always been really like hesitant and just like leery about daycare in general, but you got to do what you got to do. So they knew how I felt about daycare. So they asked me, hey, are you feeling more comfortable with it now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to feel more comfortable. I got to know her teachers and they seem to be really nice and it's been a good experience so far, yada, yada, yada. Do you know they took that information and they said, okay, since you're feeling more comfortable now, can you pick up more time? How dare you? How dare you play on my emotion and act like you're so concerned about my child and that sort of thing. And the whole time you had plans to just ask me to work more hours. So that's when it really hit me like, these people don't care about us. They want a body to fill this space and they want you to work while they're at home with their kids who had a nanny and didn't go to daycare because they didn't want to subject their child to daycare. But they wanted me to send my daughter to daycare more often. It's interesting how that works. So anyway, on that day, I think I lost all empathy, sympathy for the boss who's constantly bombarding me and asking me to work more. Like a light bulb clicked for me that day, and I'm like, oh wow, okay. No, I'm not doing it. And I still do feel that guilt, okay? I do feel guilty when I do it, but now I will say the guilt is not crippling, and the guilt is not enough for me to change my mind. I'm still gonna tell you no. So when I get that text message, when I get that WhatsApp message from my boss asking me, can you pick up such a day, such a day? What I'll usually do is I'll say, let me get back to you. And I'll give myself a little bit of time to work through all these weird emotions of guilt and thinking twice about things. And I'll just ultimately, I will send the text like, no, sorry, I can't do it. I have plans with my family. So I just wanted to give this message to any of you who are struggling with saying no to a boss, a manager, a supervisor who's asking you to work these extra hours that you truly just don't want to work. Please don't be like me who wasted years and years of being guilt tripped and pressured into picking up these hours. Trust me, in those moments when you actually do feel guilty and you're like cringing when you're sending the text like, no. I promise you, when you're off work and you're actually doing that thing, you're at that event, you're playing with your kids, you're on that trip, I promise you, you're going to be so grateful that you said no. You are going to love your past self. You are going to be living your best life, enjoying those memories and making those memories because, and I stand by this statement, on your deathbed, you are not going to be saying to yourself, oh, I wish I had worked more hours. No, you're probably going to be thinking, oh, I wish I had worked less hours and spent more time with my family and the people who love me. So don't be like me. Don't feel pressure. If you do feel pressure, fight to the end, and don't let anybody change your mind or make you feel guilty because, again, they're spending that time with their families and you're the one who's not going to be doing that. You're the one missing out and you don't want to live with regret. I don't want to live with regret. If I could choose being at home with my kids, even just taking a nap or taking a mental health day, sometimes just saying no and having a peaceful day at home, it's totally worth it. Sometimes you just have to be a little bit selfish. You got to do what's best for you. And you got to stop letting these employers guilt trip you into doing something that you truly, in your heart of hearts, just don't want to do. So this message especially goes out to the people who are constantly bombarded by their boss to work more hours. Don't do it. Stand firm in your decision. Do not do it and enjoy your life. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.